Hidden Object Guru here, joined by.
The Unabridged gamer and his very, very anime character.
Alright, well, hit OK and we'll get a mission started. We're finally playing some Earth Defense Force 4.1, The Shadow of New Despair, which is a great game that has a couple of issues that we're going to get into as we're going. Let's just say it has one of the worst menu systems you're ever going to encounter. Oof.
But I can change the color of my armor. I
Yeah,
mean,
there you
that's
go.
important. That's
Ready up.
very
Let's start killing some things.
okay. All right, my little purple armored person is ready to go. So let's ready up. Where's the ready button?
It's
Oh,
at the top.
there it is.
There you go. You did it. All right.
I
Let's.
was able to successfully survive
So
Earth
this is
defense.
Earth Defense Force. I've never played this in online multiplayer. Your left trigger will make you fly. Your right trigger will shoot.
I want you to bear in mind here that I,
Have never.
unlike our lovely host, have never played an Earth Defense Force game, so this is going to be an experience.
Damn right it will. Where are you?
I am flying back towards you. I was following the tanks, and then I was found
Do
out that
not
that was
follow the tanks.
yes.
Your one job here: kill all the ants you can and don't shoot me. These are sorry. You have two jobs: kill
What
all
the
the
fuck?
ants you can. Don't shoot me.
What?
That is such an awesome weapon. I see you found out about the rapier.
I still haven't entirely. I'm not sure what I'm doing.
You are
I'm so
sending
confused.
out a shotgun full of lasers to decimate everything in front of you. That is what you're doing, and it looks badass. Because
I'm
everything about this game looks badass. Yeah, so basically, this is the world of Earth Defense Force 4.1. There are giant cities. Those giant cities are full of ants. You have to kill the ants. And then as we move forward, we'll get new enemies, we'll get new weapons, new locations, and check this out. All right, so where are you? All right, there you are. So right in front of you and to your left, there's a big building. I'm going to fire a rocket at it.
okay.
And you're going to see what rockets do to buildings. Hopefully, at some point. Oh.
Would you like some help?
There we go. And kaboom.
Ah, so I see we're in the Disney Infinity School of sandbox design.
We are. The genius of this one is you can clear out the entire level to get better line of sight on the guys you need to kill. Like it's strategic destruction, and that is something you do not see a lot in video games. As you kill guys, they will drop canisters that say armor or weapon on them, and by grabbing those, you will upgrade your armor from level to level, and you will have a chance of unlocking a new weapon. One weird thing about this game is I think the first time, and maybe this is permanent, but at least the first time you play every mission, they restrict what level weaponry you're allowed to use on it, and I'm not sure why. Because in the single player game, I think it's to keep online gaming from being unbalanced, which, like, what if I want to have an unbalanced experience online,
We're
guys?
fighting giant ants in Earth
Exactly.
Defense
Like,
Force.
let me bring my end game weapons so I can show them off to people, to someone who hasn't played the game before. But no, they're not letting me do it. Like, because I've unlocked in this mode a fusion blaster, which is an ultra powerful laser cannon. And I mean, you got laser cannons of your own, but it's still a badass thing to see. So the game's four characters are Rangers, which is the soldier I'm playing as, Wing Divers, which you're playing as. You're free to fly around at your leisure. Air Raiders, who are support guys who call in airstrikes and summon vehicles, and Fencers, who are dudes in power armor. So if you want to mix it up after this first match, I'm not going to say you definitely want to try out the Fencer, but Fencer's pretty badass. That's
I
all I'll
won't take
say about
offense to that.
that. Really? Okay, and as you can see, there are tanks everywhere. Now, the biggest problem with the game, I love this series. I've loved this series since Earth Defense Force 2017, which was the third game in the series. One problem with the game that was only solved in the latest one, Earth Defense Force 5, is a lot of the vehicles are basically impossible to use. Like they have all these vehicles in the game, and their brilliant conception for the vehicles was so you see how you have a targeting reticle that lets you know where your bullets are going to go.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that in vehicles.
Because why? Why?
For
Why would you
no
want
reason
that?
that anyone can understand, you don't get a targeting reticle in vehicles. Now, I think just in railgun tanks, you get a target beam, and so you're good to go with that. And in the newer game, the most recent one, they've added that to all the vehicles. But yeah, like there's literally no possible reason to not give you give you a targeting reticle in this. They just don't. And it's not like it's something they're not aware of. This has been a problem for like 3 games in a row. And it's a problem that for whatever reason they refuse to fix. Like it's not like it's simulation. People who are in a tank know what they're shooting at.
But do they really? Maybe it's an
Yes.
existential question.
Can we ever really know what we're shooting at?
Are
I
we
think
sure the ants are not just the ants of ourselves?
I think at a certain point we have to accept that the ants might be a metaphor for our own rapacious consumerism. They
Somewhere in
swarm on.
engraved, John Romero is rolling his eyes.
I know, right? Yeah, that's it's turning into one of those Return of the Living Dead situations where you got a skeleton with weird, super realistic eyes that roll around in surprise. And that's a reference to Return of the Living Dead, a film that you might not have seen.
You're learning things, kids.
All right, do I have a sprint button? I honestly don't remember. I
I
feel
don't.
like I do.
Most of the face buttons do nothing for me. My right button sets a marker that never goes away.
No, that's to tell me, like, to focus
Oh,
on an area. Yeah, like, well, that's your way of calling for help, for example.
oh, so it's like Apex Legends, but way more confusing. Okay.
I have not played
I
Apex
haven't either.
Legends.
I've just been reading about it, and apparently they have this really neat pinging system for marking things that is reportedly good.
All right, so you switch over to Fencer, I'll switch over to Air Raider, and
Ah,
I'll show
dang
you
it.
how this works.
Why would you set the D-pad to social communications instead of menu navigation? What developers have against using D-pad for menu navigation?
It's really absurd. All right. Have you got a? You're loading up your Fencer.
Yep. Oh my gosh. I think he's got enough weapons.
He's got plenty of weapons, but if you want to, you can turn off the shields and just get more guns because the shields are not great. Like the shields are only useful in very specific situations.
A blast. I have 2 blast hole spheres,
Yeah.
and well, this is a thing. This is very much a thing.
All right. We've got another player who we can't hear because we've got the sound muted. So if you want to talk, Zan, sorry, we're on our first time through the game, so we cannot do high-level weapons, I am sorry to say. Yeah, we've got weapon limits on because, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to turn them off. We've never tried online gameplay before, and as I said, we cannot hear you if you're speaking. We're recording this for a video for the Hidden Object Guru channel, which is why all of this is nonsense, and I apologize for any confusion it has caused you. But apparently Zan is good to go as a wing diver, so I'm a fencer, you're an air raider. Let's get this thing going.
I am done up like Master Chief,
Okay.
as one does.
Yeah, so another fun thing about the game is the huge variety of enemies. There are like 15, 20 distinct different types of enemies. And that's just the enemy types. Like within enemy types, there are distinct variations in color that makes things stronger or weaker. All right, let's see how my howitzer does.
Wait a second, the game didn't keep my loadout. I've got a shield again.
Oh, that sucks. Oh, no, wait. You have 2 different sets of loadout.
Oh,
Whoa! That artillery was badass. All right. Artillery did a great job. I just called in a little vehicle that I like to... that is, in many ways, the definitive vehicle of the game and the game sensibility. It's a vehicle called, and this is true, Armored Vehicle Grape.
what?
Yeah. Check it
Why
out.
does it have a glowing blue butt?
That's you can get in. It's a
Oh,
APC.
hold on.
Hop
Hold on,
in.
I'm trying.
Yeah, press
Press
the
the
B or circle button to hop in. Yeah, now I'm driving you around.
ah.
And then you got out.
Sorry, I was trying to switch because all I could do was look.
Well, yeah, but there's no. Later, I'll get a tank that has a gun in it, and that'll work for you. But for right now, yeah. In fact, there is an amazing thing I'm going to show you much, much later than now. There is a vehicle that is the best thing I've ever seen. So there's one. It's actually specifically designed to have 4 players. There is it has like 100,000 hit points. You have a pilot to make it walk around. You have a guy who operates I'm trying to think of the name. A multi-lock rocket launcher that can like lock onto 10 guys at once and fire rockets. And then there's a guy in the left arm being one manually targeted cannon, and a guy in the right arm being
It's
another manually
Voltron?
targeted. It is basically Voltron. And unfortunately, and this is a problem with the game, wow, Armored Vehicle Grape is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just back here watching everything happen. I'm just here.
I threw in some artillery, so come forward and watch the artillery play out.
Oh,
It's
I
going to
can
be
see.
badass. I may have dropped the artillery on my own tank, so that is less good.
You're asking
Oh!
for it.
Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the destruction you create. One problem in the game is you can't get, like, there are AI troops everywhere, right? And a problem with the game is you cannot get those AI troops to man the gun stations on your various tanks. Like, the tanks are actually weirdly well designed in the game, because the concept in the game is you got this great big main cannon, right? And you use the great big main cannon to wipe out large groups of enemies or just, put a dent in particularly tough enemies. But then in addition to that, the tanks will have 1 or 2 machine guns on the side, so when you're flooded by enemies, a guy will come in and he'll man the machine gun and he'll help defend the tank so it can keep going. But if you're playing single player, the tank can't do that. So that's the one thing Halo has on this game, which is in Halo, like, a guy will just climb into the machine gun and he'll defend you as you're driving around. Whereas in this, that can't happen. And it's too bad, because it's like one of the few things I say that makes Halo a better game than Earth Defense Force. In fact, it's the only thing that is better about Halo than Earth Defense Force.
Don't you be besmirching Halo, boy.
Compared to Earth Defense Force, Halo is what is it? What's that phrase? Baby town frolics. It's just nonsense gibberish.
Boy, I will
So
bite
did you
one.
get out and you try out your cannons?
I have barely gotten to actually hit anything with the spheres or my Gatling gun.
You got a Gatling gun. Let's go use a Gatling gun. We'll start the next mission and we'll Gatling gun up.
Can I perchance switch back to flying?
Yes, switch back to flying. I'm not going to make you play this guy. Or you can try being a soldier if you want.
I'm good with flying. I
You're good
like
with flying,
actually
okay.
having mobility. It's one of the things that going back to what I said, Apex Legends. I don't know if you know that's the new thing from the people behind Titanfall.
No, I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's like one of my biggest disappointments was that you can't do the whole flying around like a pilot thing, because that is one of the main reasons to play Titanfall is that you can fly around and it's fun.
All right, ready up?
Okay, 1 second. Hold on. Particles cannon, sniper rifle, mid-range. Hey, they have the laser rifle from Fear's expansion packs.
They do. So load it up.
Yep, and the plasma is pretty
We don't want to keep Zan waiting. Plasma launcher is a good thing to have because it's for groups of enemies.
Mm-hmm. All right, okay. I'm purple and I'm ready.
Let's do it. So yeah, like, it is just a giant hectic mess. And it's the best. And the one nice thing is, so I have X amount of items, right? I have X amount of weapons, and as I use my weapons, they need to be recharged. And every time anybody gets a kill, it helps recharge my weapons.
Oh my gosh, it is literally the rifle from Fear. It even does the same. Oh, okay, yeah. Yep.
Here
I'm
comes the
sorry.
artillery. Boom!
Hey, you sunk my battleship.
Oh, as a wing diver, generally as a wing diver, your job in the world of Earth Defense Force is to make sure you collect all of the crates. Because we all share in the crates.
Oh, okay,
So-
well, sure. I did not know that.
No. You can't steal crates in the game.
Okay, good. because I
You're
kept
good.
not getting them last time.
Yeah, no, no. It is your job. Yeah, it is. Among your other jobs, it's your job to zip around the map collecting as many crates as you can. Wow, armored vehicle grape is hard to control. But it's still called armored vehicle grape, so it's got that going for it.
There's nothing I can do wrong after
God.
that for you.
I love the innocent bystanders who are running around, who run around the levels, and they will like constantly look back at the monsters and stumble and fall. Like it's, oh, you might have. Did you get picked up by a? You
I
seem to
might
be.
have. I shot him in the face with a laser a bunch.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I forgot to tell you that they can pick you up and attack you. That is
Yeah,
something I should have warned you about.
I'm gonna say, you know what this game is weirdly reminding me of?
What's
You're
that?
not. I actually, you know what? I want you to guess. It's a licensed tie-in game that released for the Wii, the Wii U, and the 3DS, amongst other platforms.
Then I definitely didn't play it.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Really?
The feel is actually very similar.
I am
It's got
incredibly surprised to hear that.
it's got a very floaty sensibility to it. I mean, you're obviously not punching people, but otherwise it's focused way more on just being goofy fun instead of trying to beat you over the head with it. And yeah, the scale of the environment is kind of similar. You don't blow up buildings in that one, but otherwise you just do kind of zip around. I think that's why I'm even liking the jetpack character the most, because
Oh yeah, no,
it's
Wing Diver's great to play as.
it just brings back memories of how I was doing that there. The only thing missing is stealth gameplay, which honestly would be freaking hilarious in this context.
Yeah, this is not a good place for stealth gameplay. Although there are missions where you're like, the enemies start off not knowing where you are, and you can try and sneak to the right position to ambush them from, or you can play it however you want and just charge. Like it's entirely up to you.
I mean,
There
they
are
are
there are play it your way missions in this, although I mean, in the end, the mission always boils down to attack guys with, cannons. So you're always, no matter what way you play it, you're going to end up doing the Earth Defense Force thing, but there is some variety. Come on, where are you, artillery? Oh, there's my artillery. Oh my god! Artillery is so brutal in this game.
Congratulations, you leveled an entire kindergarten.
Well, if they hadn't run out of here by now, they might be too dumb to live. That's a horrible thing to say, but I stand by it.
And instantly the YouTube algorithm is like, okay, now I need to recommend this video.
All right. Yes, he got into. Oh, I thought he was going to get into the. You're not going to get in and. No? Yeah, we're going. I'm driving you to the action. Yeah, it's nice because I've got an armored car, so I can drive people right to the action. Which, is kind of hard when you have to sneak between buildings, but, works now. Armored Vehicle Grape! Sorry, I just really love Armored Vehicle Grape. And it's one of those names where you're like, do you think that makes sense in Japanese? Like, is this gibberish in every language, or does Armored Vehicle Grape make sense as a concept in Japanese? Like, are they trying to say something with that, or is it just, no, they're just saying nonsense. Don't think about it too hard.
I'm thinking in this game's context, I don't think you should think that hard.
It is a game largely about not worrying too hard about things. Like, if there's one real takeaway from this series. So the guy I'm playing as now, the Air Raider, is not useful in single player. But in multiplayer, as you can see, he is devastatingly effective. But if I didn't have you guys to shoot things, I would be completely overrun all of the time. So the weird part is there's a lot of really good team play options in this. Like it's as good. I mean, the menu system is garbage. Don't get me wrong. The menu system is complete garbage. Anyone would agree with that. But like the actual gameplay is very exceptional. All right, so let's see what my tank options are. No, I don't have any tanks that have. I'm blanking on the word. I don't have any tanks that have assault right now. Machine gun nests. All right, I'm ready to go whenever you're. Oh, how did you like your laser rifle?
It's not bad, but I'm curious to try other things out while we're here. So
Yeah,
let's see.
no, keep doing it. Load it
Ooh.
up.
there is a homing rifle. And
Yeah, a
all
homing
right,
rifle's pretty
okay.
awesome.
All right, the needler.
It does look a lot like a needler. I hadn't realized that before, but
It
yeah,
has
you're
the same
totally right.
functionality too.
It has the same. It has the same visual as a needler. All right,
Let's
now
try
we're
this again.
fighting giant spider Retarius, who, as you can see, is a giant spider that catches you in its web and makes a mess of the thing. If you can destroy these webs that have dudes caught in them, we will have a bunch of extra wing divers to catch us up. Although they can get killed if you don't rescue them fast enough.
Well, I'm shooting the web as hard as I can.
There you go. Now, it's one of the many fascinating things about this game is how well it uses NPC assistance. Like in 2017, the first one, it was just they sucked. They were no good. They could never help you. It was never worth having one on your team, right? But in this, they've actually gone to the trouble of making them super effective. Like the soldiers will do a good job of holding back spiders. The tanks will actually just womp enemies. They're not great, but they can get the job done. And in fact, a good way to farm high level weapons early in the game is if you can find a place you go to a map that has some alien space drones attacking you, right? And then you set it to the hardest difficulty. The alien space drones will focus on you, not your AI buddies. You want to go collect all of that stuff I just knocked down? I knocked down a bunch of items by killing a giant spider.
I'm looking for
Right by the Twin Towers at the end of the street. Oh, the stuff to pick up are the green circles on the map. I should have told you that ages ago.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, I'm moving.
But anyway, so the flying drones will focus on you. So if you can find like a hole to hide in where they can't hit you, they will just circle around trying to hit you, and your boys can actually kill all of the high level drones, thereby winning the level and giving you a chance to go and collect all the high level weapons. Yeah, the Retarius, weird thing in the game. So the Retarii build. Damn it. Yes, new armored vehicle, great. They will build their webs between two buildings. Now, you can destroy the web, but you cannot destroy the building the web is hanging on.
Okay, because I was trying to do that at first, and
Now, that's a smart way to try to kill them. Like, everyone tries that the first time, but the game is specifically like, this is going to mess with their AI too much, so all the developers did was they just, instead of trying to come up with a fix, they just turned off destructibility of any vehicle that has a Retarius web attached to it. And you might say, well, that's cheap. And I'm like, maybe a little, but honestly, it's an easy fix to solve what would have been a pretty major
my
problem.
question is, what is your favorite building to use as a vehicle? I, for one, prefer the Chrysler building.
What?
You said vehicle instead of building.
I said, okay, that's embarrassing. Thank
So it's
you.
like, it's like, okay, I'm curious. What's your favorite building?
So did you check out the? Oh yeah, keep the Mirage because we're going to be coming up against airborne enemies soon, and the Mirage is best for airborne enemies because the Mirage blasts people out of the sky.
Okay, let's see here then. All right.
Yeah.
Swap that one out for.
Oh yay! Zan is loading up a fencer. So you want to check out Zan's gameplay because fencers are badass if you know what you're doing. And Zan has 14% completion rate, so Zan obviously knows what they are doing.
All right.
All right, and we're here to rescue more wing divers. More wing divers. We have to rescue wing divers. All right, Mirage Zero and Laser 197. Ugh. So there's a wing diver. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but there's a wing diver dedicated game. And it's pretty badass. It's a bullet hell shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And love it so much. Yeah, it's got this weird thing where you're flying around on a 2D plane shooting things. You have to hit OK. You're flying around in a 2D plane shooting things, but all of the backgrounds and the guys moving are in a 3D plane below you. So, like, there'll be a guy at the top of the building shooting and a guy at the foot of the building shooting at you. And your single laser beam will hit both of them. So it's kind of messes with your head a little with its ideas of 3D space. But yeah, it's a great game. Not complaining about the game. Just, it took me... The one problem with it is it takes so long to find a decent set of weapons. I mean, once you find a decent set of weapons, it's a blast. But oh my god, does it take forever to find decent weapons. Because, and in what has to be one of the most bizarre mistakes I've seen in ages, bosses don't drop weapons. Like, so you go through the level and some armor will get dropped and some weapons will get dropped. And then you kill a boss and you're like, yes, I killed the boss. I'm ready for my reward. And then the answer is no. Bosses drop nothing. Like, do you not understand the basic way that levels are supposed to be constructed in video games? Because bosses are supposed to give you rewards. I don't think that's a controversial statement, is it?
It really shouldn't be.
Like, how did you not know this, guys? There's some, if you want to come back here with your wing diving, there's some, damn, though! There's some weapons over here to grab.
There's some damo? Okay.
Damo?
I will grab all the damo.
Nice. Oh, come on. I reserve the right to be impressed by the epic explosions caused by,
Oh, you're fine to. I reserve the right to make all sorts of dumb jokes about every single thing, all the place. Hey, stop with your hentai shit.
Did you get caught again?
It's a web. It's a web. It's a
Yeah,
web.
the Rotarius web. Yeah. That's the most deadly web. The most dangerous Jane, if you will. And if you know what that's a reference to, be the first commenter below the video to mention it, and you will win a prize.
Release
Just drop that in the comments.
Now another one has grabbed me.
Yeah, they'll do that. Just drop it in the comments section along with the time code for where in the video I asked about the quiz. All right. Boom.
Thank you.
Come on.
I need to grab.
Yeah. One downside about Armored Vehicle Grape, apparently, the cannon's not all that powerful. So Rotarius is decent, but the thing about Rotarius is his webs don't work on vehicles at all. Hey, you found a bunch of health. Nice.
I collected all sorts of things. And one time while flying sideways, I suddenly had 3 beams coming out of my gun instead of 1. I'm not sure if that's a feature or a glitch.
No. If you fly sideways, because it's firing 60 shots per second, it'll look like it's got 3 beams firing whenever you fly sideways or up and down very quickly. Yeah, it's just a visual effect. It looks badass, as I'm sure you noticed. All right, I'm just going to try to get a better angle on these guys via my Armored Vehicle Grape. A nice thing they've done to make the vehicles better in 5 is now when you're in a vehicle, you don't have to drive over items to pick them up. Vehicles have like a ring of pickup in which they can grab things. Like every time they make a new one of these, they do a bunch of quality of life improvements that are like, wow, the game was already great and you've just made it better. So, here's an example of a game that's so bad it's good. Yes, I'm still mad about this.
You're going to be on that one for a while.
For a while, yeah. The game Violence Fight. I don't know if you're familiar with the game Violence Fight.
No,
that is a game it's so bad it's good.
I mean, you're talking to a guy who knows what 10,000 Bullets is, and I have no idea what Violence Fight is.
It's an old-timey one-on-one fighting game from the arcades. And it had a sequel called Solitary Fighter. And what's interesting about the game Violence Fight is, it's terrible. Uh-oh, we're doing a cave level. You're going to love this. You can't really bring an air raider into the cave. He's only got one useful item. Oh, wait, maybe do I have a depth crawler already? No. Okay. Yeah, there's one kind of vehicle called a depth crawler that is actually super useful for caves, but until you've unlocked one, never bring an air raider to a cave. Wing divers can sometimes be helpful, but never bring an air raider unless you've got a depth crawler. Because you can't use, his limpet gun is actually not bad, but since you can't call in an airstrike, what are you even for? So as I was saying, yeah, Violence Fight is a game that it's so bad it's good. The controls are awkward. The English translation is basically the worst English translation you've ever seen in your entire life, right? And everything about it is just kind of charmingly inept. That is so bad it's good. You can enjoy it, but it's terrible. But you've now been playing this for half an hour. Would you call anything about this bad other than the fact that they mapped the social window to the D-pad?
Honestly, the menus has been the worst thing overall.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, I mean, I can see precisely what this game is going for, and it's doing it well. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything I would
Like,
call bad about what's being presented here.
yeah, like it is. I have dubbed this game's genre the epic action genre because it is about. It is the only game franchise to do large scale conflicts, but you're still playing a single character. Like you can't name another game that this well does huge scale conflicts where you're just playing one guy. Because I would say, people always say, what about Muso games? And I'm like, but in Muso games, there are no individual enemies. If you know what I mean. Like, every enemy in a Muso game, there's hero enemies, and then there's literally just stacks of dudes who you run through. Every single unit you fight in a game of Earth Defense Force is a fully realized enemy that has the potential to kill you. Try to imagine getting killed by one of the background enemies in a Muso game.
I'll grant you that, but
Whereas in this, every single spider is capable of ending you if you screw up.
I know that there's a Crimson Lands kind of comes close, but it's
No, Crimson
just,
Land. First off, Crimson Land is a twin stick shooter. That's a completely
yes.
different thing, and by its very nature, it can't be epic in scale because twin stick shooters have to stay in a very small arena.
But it has a crap ton of enemies going at you all at once, and
Oh no,
kind
no,
of just,
and lots. But see, epic action, as I call it, isn't just about number of enemies. It's about giant scale conflicts, huge maps, huge numbers amount of enemies, huge AI teams on your side, giant explosions everywhere. Again, the word is epic, right? Larger than life,
what
epic
about the
scale
Hulk
action.
games then?
What's that?
What about the Hulk games? Aside from having a bunch of people on your side, couldn't you argue that some of the Hulk games are like prototype maybe?
They're not too bad, but again, even then, in Hulk and Prototype, you're only ever fighting like 6 guys at a time. Yes, you can adventure through the whole city, but there's very rarely large numbers of enemies in Prototype and Hulk.
I could swear one of the Hulks was better about that, but I'm blanking on which one.
I'm sure you're right that one of them was. But again, it might be borderline epic action, but the other part about epic action is, and that I talk about this as the definition of it is, the other thing that factors in is, how shall I put this? A complete, focus on nothing but the action. There is nothing in this game except epic action. You never have to.
You absolutely.
Yeah, you never have to go to a battle. You never have to travel to a place. There is only bite-sized pieces of giant, larger-than-life combat. But yeah, like the elements that the big element that I go into epic action that no other games has is that no other game will present you with a huge battle that you are a tiny part of. Like no game bothers to even try that. And these guys have been doing this for more than a decade now, and it's always been amazing. They're just these huge epic battles, and you are just a cog in that epic battle. You're the most important cog, but you are just part of a war effort in these. Like the 2 final battles in Earth Defense Force 5, you've got like a division of tanks battling a mothership. Yeah, there's like an entire row of tanks and a bunch of what do you call it? And a bunch of pieces of walking armor, and you've got snipers, and you've got rocket launcher guys. Like it's this giant epic battle that you were just a part of. Yeah, they probably can't win it without you, and yeah, they're the most important part. But you are a piece of this huge epic experience in a way that nobody else manages to do. I mean, the definitive mission in every one of these games is that they all do is a mission called Brute Force, and I will show you that at some point, and you will see the mission Brute Force, and you'll be like, yes, now I understand what epic action is.
Well, the thing is that there's. I have one last question. I'm not trying to nitpick here. I'm just trying to clear.
Ask.
The pandemic
make me define
games,
my terms.
like
what are
Battlefront and Lord of the Rings Conquest, because those Anybody can kill you in those. You're part of a large scale conflict for what the PS2 could render,
Yeah.
and they generally tried to capture a sense of
The
scale that not
feel,
all the games
yes.
have done.
Yeah, exactly. And those are the closest. You are correct that Pandemic's efforts in Lord of the Rings and Battlefront are by far the closest things to epic action outside of Earth Defense Force. And it's sad that they completely abandoned that genre after the PS2 era.
Oh, there's a lot of things that are sad about the current state of Battlefront, but that's a hole you don't want me going down.
No, that's... Oh, no! I tried to throw some artillery, and it bounced off of a spider corpse and landed next to me. So...
Well, this is
Oh,
awkward.
damn! Danger close, everybody. Danger close. Hopefully that hasn't screwed up our attempts to beat this level.
I do want to say real quick though that reminds me. You know the developer Danger Close. Do you remember them?
Yeah, I remember Danger Close. What did they make? I remember the
They,
name.
they were doing the. Here's the thing. Danger Close is one of the most remarkable things because, like with Visceral being mostly turned into EA Vancouver,
Yeah.
um,
What happened to
Danger
Danger
Close has
Close?
gone under like close to 3 different names, but they have always worked for EA, and believe it or not, they still exist. They're
But
nearly
like, what was their big game? Why does the name Danger Close mean something to me?
They made the Medal of Honor reboots that were really terrible.
That's it. Okay, yeah, now I know. All right, there
But
you go.
you see that it's like it really bears saying just how ridiculous their whole experience was because
That they've
like
survived. Yeah.
they've made so many games, yet almost never have they made like more than two under the same name.
That's so crazy. Oh my god.
But yeah,
We're
now
about
those
to have
people.
a bunch more spiders. If I
Okay,
get another artillery option, I promise to use it more responsibly this time.
I almost believe you.
Hey! No, that's fair. That is completely fair. All right, howitzer, here we go. Oh, it's not loaded up yet. Forget it. Armored vehicle grape! I love armored vehicle grape so much. Okay. It's got 8 wheels, and the front two... No, I think it's got 10 wheels? Let me check that. It's got 8 or 10 wheels, and what's weird is when it... Oh, it's got 8 wheels. All front 4 wheels turn when it turns. And I've always thought that was a very weird visual. But yeah. Like, it's got 2 turning axles on the front, and then just 2 regular wheels on the back. That is a lot of spiders.
Yeah, I'm thinking my one friend who's an arachnophobe, he would be noping out of this so hard right
There
now.
are so many people. I have talked to so many people who are like, I could never play that game. There are giant spiders in it, and they are very unpleasant. And I'm like, yeah, if you're worried about spiders, I could see you just never being willing to touch this game. And the crazy part about this game is, you see these giant areas these giant levels we've been doing.
Hmm.
This game has like 80 levels. There's something in the neighborhood of 80 levels in this. There are 110 in the sequel, number 5, right?
Hmm.
So there are 110 in the sequel, which is just huge. And let me think. And of course, we've got. I just sent you the code. So there's ultra hard bonus missions you can do as well to get exclusive weapons. But yeah, and there are, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 weapons per character. So it's a giant arsenal of weapons. The big thing that they've changed in 5 is, so there's the 3 regular difficulty levels, easy, normal, hard, right? And then there's hardest, and then there's inferno. And the weird thing is, in the new one, right, and I don't think 4 does this, but I know 5 does, it's kind of amazing. What they've done is they have taken instead of just giving you more monsters, tougher monsters, right? When you play the hardest and inferno level difficulty, it is a different enemy loadout, like a different assortment of enemies that appear in like changed order in different places. And you will often spawn in a different location.
Okay,
So
so
it is a meaningfully different experience if
so
you play on the harder difficulties.
it's more like Syndicate's different co-op modes, the different difficulties for that. They would mix up the enemies.
They meaningfully change things, right?
All right, I gotta be right back. Just give me 1 second.
Okay, take 1 second, then come back. And you can see power armor. All right, we're recording again. You're back. We've got a fourth player to join in on this new mission.
Where?
In case you're wondering why we're playing such low-level stuff, it's because Robert Bobbs here has never played an Earth Defense Force game before, and I am teaching him the game. I bought him a copy of this today, and I am teaching him the game, so he will learn to love Earth Defense Force 4, and when Earth Defense Force 5 comes to PC, he'll just run out and buy it on his own. That is the plan. All right, everybody ready up? All right, hopefully I can get enough resource points together that you can check out my unbelievably badass power armor, but I don't know for sure that's going to happen. All right, Covalent's just swapping out, playing as a ranger, so oh my god, we've got one of each type! This is fantastic. Covalent has 2,000 hit points. I was wrong about Covalent only playing as a wing diver. Wow. I was badly wrong about that. Oh, wait. Completion rate is for every difficulty, so maybe Covalent just never played the lower difficulties, which I would also respect. But anyway, bravo. Can I bring... Oh, I've got the Vigalta ready to go. Vigalta!
So, to be clear, are you seeing covalents in the game right now? Because I'm not seeing them.
I see Covalent in the game right now. He's
literally
running around as a ranger.
I think
so. As far as you can tell, there are only 3 players.
Yes, there's Zahn, there's you, and there's me. The game has actually broken that much that I cannot see. So that's a thing.
That's something I haven't seen before. And again, it's because I'm sure it's because I'm hosting. I can see them. Check it out.
Oh, I see.
I have a badass set of power armor.
The biggest feat imaginable.
I love the animation they've done on this, where it's like gyroscopically stabilized or whatever, so the torso stays almost completely still while the legs rock back and forth. It's like a nice visual. Alright, there's my rocket cannon, which, and there's my Gatling gun. Let's go kick some ass, people. It only has 600 hit points. I don't know what the really high-level mechs are in this, but I have a mech with, I think, 76,000 hit points in 5. Although in 5, you have to fight Godzilla in 5.
Really?
And in order to fight Godzilla, this is true, you have to get into a power loader, just like in Aliens, except the power loader is 80 feet tall. And you have a fist fight with Godzilla. And you might say, does that sound like the best thing that's ever happened in a video game? And the answer is, yeah, it does. Not only does it sound like the best thing that's ever happened in the history of video games, it is the best thing that's ever happened in the history of video games. You get into a power loader and you get into a fist fight with Godzilla. What more do you want, world? Like, whenever someone questions this series, I'm like, I never understand it, and I always like, do you hate joy? Do you hate enjoying a life? Do you hate feeling one with the universe as you watch a giant power loader, crush Godzilla's head with a punch? Yeah. Oh, and Anguirus. Godzilla is a longtime series mainstay, but they added Anguirus, or Anguirus, however you pronounce that, for the next one. And it's funny because their Godzilla is just changed enough that nobody's going to sue him for being Godzilla, but their Anguirus is just Anguirus. Boom. Okay, this is brutal. Okay, yeah. This is fantastic. No! I got destroyed. I made the mistake of attempting to shoot a guy with my rocket cannon while he was standing next to me. And so he took me out pretty hard. Like, my own explosions killed me.
All right,
which is a thing that can happen.
Stuff. We got a lot of drops that need gathered.
And then I accidentally dropped an artillery on myself. Yeah, go quickly grab all those drops so people can level up. So, now do you understand why I consistently refer to this as, why I refer to this as the most consistently excellent franchise in gaming, not to be named Yakuza?
I will admit that I am not as in love as you are, but I do see why you like it.
You see the appeal.
Oh
and
yes.
you've literally just started playing.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very immediate, and there's a lot of instant payoff. This isn't one of those games where okay, and you need to use this loadout with this particular weapon type just to make it be in any way fun.
No, no, no. This game is however you want to play Earth Defense Force, you can play Earth Defense Force. Like I said, literally the only restriction is it can be a little hard to single player as the fencer or as the air raider. But other than that, it is wide open for you to do whatever the hell you want with this game. And again, once you've leveled up the air raider enough and you've got some decent vehicles, like even better mechs than this one, then you will be fine to just play however you want.
Folks, there's a bunch of spiders in the back.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
hopefully I'm going to have my, in a minute, Zan is running around with a fencer, and I am backing the fencer up with a full suit of power armor. So in a second, we will use the air raid to try and destroy those spiders that are at a distance.
That would be good because there's a lot of them and they all keep trying to string me up. And since I've been stuck as the anime girl, that deeply concerns me.
Oh, so upsetting.
I mean, they
all right,
even
here we
gave her
go.
armored panties, which I like. I remember
You have to first off, you have to respect, the foresight to give her armored panties.
I'm just sitting here. When I first noticed that while flying, it's like I'm not seriously seeing that. No, I am seriously seeing
Yeah,
that.
armored panties.
Okay. This is where we're at. This is where
Yeah.
we're at. This is still not the strangest thing that I have played.
No, of course not, but it is the best. Okay, let's just hop out of that. I got a new Vagalta on the way. It's funny. They did a better translation in 5 than they've ever done before. So it's like there was this long running weapon in the game called a Gallian cannon, Gallian, and I'm like, that's a weird name, but sure. And then finally I get a good translation. It's like, oh, they were trying to write the word galleon like a ship. And they just had misspelled it because it was so cheaply translated. They just translated the phonetic characters, and that's the end of their translation.
Mm.
It actually makes me wonder if Armored Vehicle Grape started out that way. They were trying to write something else, and then because people love Armored Vehicle Grape so much, they just never corrected it. But
I'm sure if they
I don't
changed
know
it,
the
you'd
story
start a petition to make it go back to Armored Vehicle Grape.
it's called Armored Vehicle Grape. That's obviously the best name. But yeah, and again, it's I know I refer to this type of genre a lot as types of games a lot as an all sprinkles Sunday, but it really has that vibe where it's like the game is nothing but the good stuff. Like when the worst thing about your game is that you have bad menus. Like what are we complaining about? So this will be our last mission. So sorry, Zan and Covalent, we're just doing one last mission. And then we will head out.
But be sure to check out Hidden Object Guru on YouTube, where this video will be going live.
Exactly. We're gonna post this video tomorrow so people can check it out. But yeah, it's amazing. Like I've only played a little bit of this co-op, but honestly, it's as good or better in co-op than it is in the main game. Because as you can see, like 4 players can effectively team up to just destroy these guys. And in a genius play, they've managed to balance the various character classes so when you've actually got one of each, there really are distinct roles that they play that it's super useful to have one of each. All right, so let's get some artillery on this dude. I hope I am that right. And you haven't even seen the robots yet.
I've seen pictures, but that's it.
Okay, yeah. You haven't seen the wobbly armed robots in action. The wobbly armed robots are they're one of the definitive monsters from this series, and they are gorgeous. Like the one thing, I mean, I'm not going to complain about anything from Earth Defense Force 5 because Earth Defense Force 5 is basically a perfect game. I mean, they've even improved the menus. But anyway, they've replaced robots with frogmans, and I loves me some frogmans, so I'm not going to complain. but I do miss the robots that get knocked around. Like, I don't know if it's intentional, like if there's lore behind it, but what it seems that's strange about this game's world is all of the aliens' tech is based on super strong ultralight metals. So they actually weigh almost nothing. So they can stand, they can walk around, but if you hit them with kinetic weaponry of any kind, they get knocked around, like a tree blowing in the wind. And it is such an amazing visual. But I think there are a huge amount of people who just saw that happen to the robots and they dismissed the game because they saw robots getting knocked around wackily. And that's not entirely hypothesis. My hypothesis is that happened to a bunch of people. I've actually read comments by one or two people who had that effect. Sorry, who it had that effect on them. I suspect there are a lot more, but I've only actually seen people mention it once or twice.
I'm not too shocked. I remember the first time I ever heard this game was being referenced in Game Informer, where they were like, "This is a broken mess, but we had fun with it." That was basically what I was told for the longest time that EDF was.
Yeah, and as you see why people think it's broken, but I think it's clear that this is not a broken experience. This is people making design decisions, like making creative decisions about how the game should play that just feel so completely different from what you're used to as a Western gamer that I understand why you would assume it was broken.
I think that's our biggest issue, and I think that's actually an issue even just in general with a lot of games. Criticism is just, there's this perception of what a good game should be, like as if there's only one way for that to exist, which...
That is completely accurate.
Oh, yeah, it's such bullshit to even begin to think that. Again,
back up, danger close.
Oh, I'm backing.
You want to lure them towards the explosion.
I'm trying to bring them around.
It's fine.
But
anyway, as you were saying, there's people have this idea of what a good game is what you were saying.
Yeah, and it needs to be instead be what is good in service to the game. Because there are genuinely things that would be annoying in another game that would be terrible that make certain games work marvelously.
Absolutely.
The aiming system in Wolfenstein The New Order, it would be annoying as all get out in certain games, but it works very well.
But the whole game is all of the enemy interactions in the game are built around that aiming system.
Yeah, so
right, so it works perfectly there.
And it's just the same deal here. Yes, these enemies definitely reply with a bit of a janky animation, and yes, everything is to a ludicrous scale, but it's in...
That's what the game is for. Yes, it is. These are creative decisions being made in service of an overall artistic direction. And again, it sounds like I'm being too pretentious in describing Earth Defense Force, the artistry of Earth Defense Force, but I think it would be dishonest of me to refer to any other way. They are trying to create an experience with this game. And that experience right now has me firing a giant mech's autocannon into a bay in order to blow up ants that are crawling along the floor of the ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people, when they see the game, it is trying to do things so diametrically different than every other... Like, it has goals so completely different than every other game out there that people just don't know how to interact with it. Is part of my theory about why this game has the reaction it has. Because Brad was telling me, it's like, I'm like, maybe I give the new game a 9. And he's like, I get why it's almost the perfect version of this game. And he's like, people think this series is a joke. Like, people cannot take this game seriously. Like, so honestly, consider your audience. And I'm like, but the scores exist to say how good a game did at accomplishing what it set out to do. But in the end, I did give it an 8 out of 10 because I was being honest. Like, I can't say that it's perfect, but it's so incredibly excels at the task it is set for itself that I feel almost guilty not giving it a 9 or a 10. All right. Thank you, our 2 extra players, Zan and Covalent. You did a fantastic job. Thank you for helping out. I definitely would have been much more awkward at this had I been the only one helping Robert Bobbs the Third play the game. But we're wrapping this up now.
I do have one thing I want to say real quick. I
Go.
think the one thing that I would
Oh,
love.
no, we're
to
not
see-
closing. I'm just saying goodbye to the people. We're
Oh,
not
okay.
closing out the stream yet.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I'm closing the room now, but hopefully we'll see you guys around the EDF front.
But yeah.
Anyway, you were going to say, please.
The one thing that I would love to see added to this game, the one thing I think that would make it all the better, I'm serious here, is I would love to see the team that wrote the story for Octodad to doing this. I think that would be perfect because they have the same sort of appreciation for this is goofy, but it can still have meaning to it. Because as much as Octodad is a love
right.
it or hate it kind of game, I still actually really like its story. I
All right,
like
so
that it goes for genuinely being sincere and sweet and having all these emotions while being hilarious. So I could see that working really well with this.
all right, I'm just gonna tell you something that you're probably not gonna believe, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. And put me in touch with your people at Escapist so I can pitch them this article. Earth Defense Force 5 has one of like my favorite action game stories in recent years. And that sounds crazy, but it actually has an amazing story that no one has noticed because they're so distracted by every other thing about the game. But weirdly, you would think that this game does not have a good story because look at it. But Earth Defense Force 5 legitimately has a great story. And like I said, put me in touch with your people at Escapist because I think there's an article in how good this game's story is. But that is something we can discuss later. Anyway, Unabridged, thank you so much for joining me on this trip through my favorite game.
For inviting me along and for granting me access to this little slice of insanity.
If you want to play more of it, let me know. I am always available for Earth Defense Force 4. And that's barely an exaggeration. It's an incredible game. If you had a PS4, I'd be like, maybe we get you a copy of Earth Defense Force 5.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, do I have an extra copy of Earth? You know what the crazy part is? I think I might actually have an extra copy of Earth Defense Force 5. I think they sent me 2 copies.
I can believe that. The co-op clearly seems to be a central part of it.
No, it is. It really is. So, yeah, that is something we're going to look into. But anyway, that is that for now. Thanks for coming on this journey with us. If you had a good time and you'd like to see more, there's buttons for that. Questions, suggestions. If we did a quiz, the answer goes in the comments section below the video. I don't remember if we did.
I think
or if that was in our... Well, no, we did a quiz. I just don't remember if it was in this video or the previous video.
I think it's this one.
Okay, well, quiz answers go there too. Swing by the Unabridged Gamers channel for some in-depth looks at really, like, licensed games on dead platforms that you'd never heard of.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting year. We're talking about all sorts of licensed games. We're talking about the Captain America one. We're talking about Arkham Origins Blackgate, Amazing Spider-Man. It is going to be very weird.
All right, so come by and check that stuff out. And for me, of course, constant stuff here at the Hidden Object Guru channel. Also, I'll say it again, I wrote a movie. The movie's called Our House. It's been nominated for a bunch of Canadian Oscars, so you should watch it before it becomes super popular and you're like the last person to see it. I don't know that that's actually going to happen, but I found out I got nominated for a Canadian Oscar yesterday, so I'm still kind of hyped about it.
Oh yeah, you're completely justified in that.
Yeah, it's a big deal for Canada. For Canada, it's a really big deal.
You're right up there right now with Bear, the romance novel.
That is a weird cut to go to, but okay. All right, so we'll see you back here for more, but until then, au revoir.